Hey guys, it's Kurt from Wersi Club USA. We're going to jump back to our Ketron friends and help them out. We had a couple of questions about accessing the different banks. So we want to take a quick look at that and show you that you can in fact get to the user styles, the factory styles, the user voices, and the factory voices. We're going to show you this using an SD90 connected up to our Sonic, but any of the SD series modules or keyboards will work, whether it's a 40 or one of the newer SD60 keyboards or an SD9. So let's take a real quick look at some of the bank information. The first two lines there, what you really want to pay attention to is notice you're getting to the same sounds, whether they call them GM sounds or voice presets. Let's make sure we all get it, that it's the same sounds, but it's either you're accessing them via MIDI in 1 or MIDI in 2, and that's over on the Ketron side. So that's really important to understand. And we'll show you that when we connect it up to the Sonic. And then the other ones, if you have any user voices, you can see the banks, factory styles, or user styles. That's something that you may not be aware of, but you can select those also from the Sonic so that that's set up. And then one last thing we'll talk about is accessing a registration, and there are 4 banks of registrations on your SD series Ketron. Okay, before we get into this too much actually with the Sonic, let me show you one setting here under MIDI. Let's go into here. And let's try it again. There we go. Okay. So right now we're using standard, and we'll talk about a couple other things here a little bit later, but I want you to go to MIDI ports, and notice here's N1 and N2 again. N1, if you've watched all of our earlier videos, we're using that as the GM sounds. Don't confuse that with general MIDI. It's just the way they have it named under GM. If you hit MIDI 1 or MIDI play 1, that lets you get to that first set of factory sounds I had mentioned, bank 0, 1, whatever I said, 10, 11, 72, 73, okay? No keyboard split, all 16 channels. If you touch keyboard, now N1, and notice N2 is keyboard only, but now N1 will also access the arranger section. The problem with that is, again, depending on how you want to use it, I shouldn't say it's a problem. It's all about how you want to configure things. If you want to play an organ as an organ, upper pedals, lower, all of that stuff, I'm going to recommend this configuration, and going back and look at some of the earlier videos where we talk about how to pick any of the sounds you want and using dynamic channels on OAX to access them all. If you go down to the keyboard mode and you're using input 1, that gets into, hang on, accessing these things, chords 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, drums, the bass, the second voice. That's okay, but it may not work exactly like you would. Oops, let me turn on receive. They're all turned off, but you get my point, is that you can configure those the way you want it and set chord number 1 to be on, let's say, channel 5, but that means now you have to go into the organ and make sure that the user voice on the Wersi side is on MIDI channel 5. If it is a dynamic channel and Wersi picks channel 7, you're not going to get the sound that you expect. So again, that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it, with MIDI port set up like this. So the input 1, we have 16 MIDI channels we can put any sound on. Input 2 allows us access to the arranger section. All right, let's start with what we've all seen 100 times before. Let me start up the audio recorder so we can hear a sound or two, and let's click edit. All right, so we're on MIDI out 1 going to MIDI in 1 on our SD90. And let me go back to bank 0. All right, so we should hear some kind of a E-piano sound. Okay, so all we're going to do here is go from bank 0 to bank 1. I'm going to click send, and Sure enough, that's a different piano sound. Now what you want to notice over on the Ketron side over here is nothing's changing in the screen. It's just this boring screen, right? Let me go up to, let's go up to bank 10. There we go, send. And we have another piano sound. Let's go to 11. I guess that one's different. Let's listen. Yeah, it is a little bit different. All right, let me go all the way up to 72. Okay, oops, 71, 72, send. So that changes to a guitar, and let's go one more to 73 and hit send. Violin kind of a sound. Now again, so we picked, what was that, 5 or 6 sounds, different banks. We didn't change the program number over here. All we did is pick a different bank, but again, nothing changed on our Ketron screen. MIDI out 1 to MIDI in 1 lets us pick any of the banks, and let me also say that bank 73 does not exist on SD40 or SD7, in case you're looking for that. It does exist on SD90, SD60, and SD9, the keyboard. So again, that's just to show you how we can address all those different banks from MIDI out 1 to MIDI in 1. Now, let's switch it up and go to port 2. And I'm going to bring all this back down to 0, bank 0, if I can find it. And here, let's go to number, let's go to 0. And let's hit send. And we should have a piano if I did it right. And we do. Okay, now watch this. If I hit program and go up to 1 and hit send, notice that it moved to grand piano. Watch again. If I go to 0, romantic. If I go to 1, goes here. So what are we on? 1, 2, 3. We should get Rhodes. Let's see. And we do. So what you can see there is now the screen in the Ketron is changing based on what we're sending from our Wersi. The other thing you'll notice is if I just touch the screen, let me pick a different one. Now when I use the screen, it changes sounds in the Ketron. Let's go back over here on the Wersi side, go back to out 1, hit send. But notice now when I use the touch screen on the Ketron side, nothing happens. Let's go back to out 2. So you can see the difference there in how those work if you're using in 1 or in 2. Again, remember it's all the same sounds, it's just how you're accessing them. And now let's look at something else. While we're here, let's go to menu. Let's go to MIDI, our good friend MIDI. And so again, remember these two things over here. GM part is in 1, receive. All 16 channels are receiving data and can play anything. Now, any sound, or voice, I should say. Let's go to Arranger Keyboard, go to receive mode. And now, again, we showed you this in one of the other videos. The differences here are drum 1, drum 2, the bass part, chord 1 through 5, lower 1, lower 2, some random device or sounds, second voice, registrations, and then if you're using the vocal harmonizer. Notice those are all turned off in this particular setup, but that is how we would address different parts of the arranger. Again, input 2 on the Ketron side. Okay, let's change it up a little bit here, and notice that we're now going to use the lower keyboard, and I'm only showing you that just to show you that this works on any keyboard. Doesn't really matter which one we're using. Let's get that thing going again, and let me double click on our sound. So we are currently, hang on, edit, out 2. We should have a vibe, I think, right? Which matches up here with vibe, right? Or vibraphone. Because again, we're on out 2. Now, let's take our bank, and we talked about getting to user sounds, okay? And notice over here, there's a user button not lit up. I'm going to hit send on the Wersi side, and look, that turned on, and sure enough, we have a new sound, which is AJM Grand Piano. Let's see if that's grand piano. If we go back to, let's see, 1, 2, hit send. So user sounds, right? So this works the same thing. If you don't have a Ketron, kind of you can ignore it, I suppose. But factory sounds in all the different categories, user sounds in all the different categories. So by going to bank 30, if I go to bank 31, so that's some kind of a wah-wah guitar. Let's go up to 32, hit send. What do we got? Ice and Harmony. So you can see again that multiple different user banks are accessible. Where are we at now? Oops, 33, send. Let me go up to 4. Why is that not sending? 34. Oh, probably because we're out of all the banks at that point. So in other words, 32 or 33 is all we've got. And currently loaded in this unit. That's why when I went past wherever it was on 34, it didn't change because there was no sound there. Okay, now let's try something different. Let me switch our screen over here. So now all the different styles are up, and let's go up to bank 40 on the Ketron, on the Wersi side. Let's hit send and turn that down a little bit. So now we've got a ballad playing, ballad 1. Let's just see if we go up and hit this to 1 and hit send. And it changed to ballad 2. Now you notice the one thing that's different in the styles, while it changes up here, it doesn't actually change down here. That's just something maybe that the Ketron guys will fix in the future. So let's go to 41. And sure enough, it did change down to ambient, and we don't know what category we're in, so it's hard to say. Let me hit 2. Cocktail. Oh, there it is, cocktail. Okay, so ambient and cocktail. So it does advance the screen, but it doesn't actually touch the block. Okay. So now let's do the same thing and go all the way up to 50, and we should see the same kind of a thing. With any luck, this user light will come on. Let's see. And it does. And now we are in the user. Notice up here there's a small U next to ballad. Let's go to, I'll just randomly pick number 5. And we're now at ballad 1, user. And so you get the idea here. Let's go up to 9. Bert hits. Okay. Let's go up to number 11 randomly. Chill out. Okay. So the point here is by going to the different banks on out 2, you can get to user sounds, user styles, or factory styles. So I think I've showed you how to get to all the different various banks, whether they're sounds or styles, in a Ketron. What we want to do here in a second, I'm gonna pause and come back in 1 second, and we're going to go into something called registrations. Let me just bring that up on the screen. So a bank 1, 2, 3, and 4 over here, you see, this is basically just like a preset on your organ, and you can see there's a bunch of them already in here. Bank 1 actually only has 5. Bank, there we go. Bank 3 has a whole bunch in there, right? So those are presets that came in this unit, all set up, right? You can certainly go create your own. So let's go back to, hang on, let's hit menu. Let's hit MIDI. Let's hit Arranger Keyboard. And let's hit receive. And check out number 16 here, right? Registration is on channel 16. And remember again, if I go back, we're in Arranger Keyboard. So that means from our Wersi side, it's going to be on port 2. So let me take our MIDI channel and crank her up to 16, like so. And let's put this way back down on, I don't think I even have to send one if I remember right. And let's put this one back on 0. Let me get out of this screen real quick. So now we're bank 1 beauty tone, I guess that is. Let's hit send. And sure enough, that picked for us. Up here, notice it says bank 1. Let me see here if I go up to number 1 on the Wersi side and I hit send. Look at that, we advanced to country 2, thank you, Lord. Now that is setting up, just like a preset works in your organ, it's setting up a style, left-hand part, right-hand part, reverbs, chorusing, you know, whatever it is you want to save in a registration, we're now picking all those things. Let's go to the next one down, Amazing Grace. Notice it up here again, it picked that, and it changed the upper voice. Let's go here. And there you go. So you get the idea that now because we switched to 16 on port 2, let's go back to the menu, let's go back to MIDI so you can see how the pieces all fit together, and hit Arranger, hit receive, and there's where channel 16 is turned on. It's saying that, hey, I will now take those commands and do whatever it is you want me to do with them. So, what have we shown you so far? Again, user voices, factory voices on both MIDI in1 and MIDI in2, and the differences in how you can get to them. Same thing with styles, user styles, factory styles, except only accessible via MIDI in2. And again, the banks, back up the video a little bit and you'll see the banks. I'll post them in the blog so if you need them for reference. And then user registrations, channel 16 on bank 2. And now if you create your own registrations and save them, you can access those. Now the really slick part about that, here, let me just save this. And we'll just, sure, that's fine. We're just messing around anyway. Save. Okay, so now, even though the name is not correct here, that registration, I could rename that on the Wersi side to match up here and say the Lord reigns. And that means to me, if I pick that Wersi user sound, it's going to load the Ketron registration. And now whatever I've saved in that registration is what's going to come up. And now, obviously, as you guys know, you could have all your other sounds set up, whether it's a Ketron sound or a Wersi sound. So you can see that it's fairly powerful, but you do have to sit down and think through it a little bit as to how you want to use it. My way is definitely not the only way, and there might be folks that comment on the way they do it. Matter of fact, we would welcome to hear how other folks are using it. As always, thanks for watching.